This ending of this episode is a bit chaotic right now.
Yeah,
yes,
sorry, but like, what else is new? If you've been here for almost 6 years, you know that it's always chaotic. Yeah. Hi everyone, welcome back to Off to Broadway, the podcast where we deep dive into anything and everything musical theater. I'm Tara.
I'm Stefania.
And in today's episode, we've reached the end of 2024, so it's time for our year in review. And we're starting this off with a special guest, so everyone welcome Shara back to the podcast.
Hi.
So I insert confetti, like digital confetti.
Producer Shara is here.
She's here because we asked her, or I guess you volunteered earlier this year to go through all of our rankings, but it also makes sense for you to be here because, guys, it's our 150th episode. So, you know,
what a
actually
journey
behind me, but this was 50 episodes ago, and it's irrelevant now. But I have the
100.
100.
Wow. Still inflated.
And a 30. But that was for my birthday. I have the 100.
Wow, that was like 2 years ago, the 100.
I know. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah,
really
and
crazy.
before we get into the ranking, I did do a tally of the number of hours that we have been podcasting. Does anybody want to take a guess? This is only for 149 episodes. Well, actually, not to say, but this is actually the 151st because that Broadway shutdown episode never had an episode number.
A bonus.
But if you're like looking at it when you upload, which no one is but me, it's 151. But for the sake of this, it's 150. So does anyone want to take a guess of how many hours we have?
Are we counting hours of the actual episodes or hours that you and Steph are on?
Oh, no.
That's like
no.
10x.
What's published?
Okay, it's a very different
what we have
number.
available to people. I'm gonna say like 220 hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little higher, 230.
Guys, it's lower.
Really?
Lower? Oh, okay, wow.
Oh.
171 hours and 7 minutes.
Okay, I really thought we were a bit more verbose than that. Okay.
That is a lot of content.
That's a lot of hours.
For everyone that complains that our episodes are too long, they're not long enough.
Not long enough.
Our longest episode was 2 hours and 10 minutes, and our shortest episode, I think, was 34 minutes. So a big range.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what the 210 was. Maybe Merrily? Probably.
Was it Merrily? Was it
that,
Gatsby?
or like,
it was Gatsby.
It was Gatsby.
I guess he's getting more airtime this episode.
We really had a lot to say about Gatsby, which is pretty crazy considering what's happening with that show right now. But
yeah.
Wait, what's happening with the ART one or the Broadway one?
Well, the Broadway one is on Broadway.
Yeah,
the Broadway on Broadway. It's funny about
that.
So the ART one, apparently we really don't know, but the rumor is they're getting a whole new creative team besides like Florence. What? Like new director, new choreographer, new set, new costumes.
We did talk about this on a previous episode, so thanks for paying attention.
Which is
crazy. I love listen to every single episode. All
I know, Shara actually is a
171 hours, but do I remember?
Shara does listen. Shara is our first listener of every episode.
And you know who our second and third listeners are? Our mothers.
Well, okay, I would say your mom. My mom is maybe a little, she's a little later.
She listens eventually, and she likes all of our Instagram posts eventually. So
my dad,
something.
Your parents are first for Instagram. My mom is first for listening. So you know what? We got the basis because I will say Shara listens to the episodes before they're published. So the actual first listener is my mother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I was like, it was me, but I found
on the actual app. She is the first listener.
Yeah. She's out there.
And shout out to my brother Tyler, who's never listened to an episode.
I'll shout out my dad, who, as his way of supporting, will put the YouTube video on and then mute it, so we get to play.
Well, your dad also likes every single Instagram post, so
yeah, no, support.
You know,
he did listen to our interview with Irene Sankoff, though, as a Come From Away fan, who still has not seen Come From Away. It's gonna happen. We're gonna make it happen.
We're gonna get him there. No, but we only started doing YouTube 2 years ago?
3 years ago, maybe.
So. Like a good chunk of those hours he's committed to. So that's great. Okay, so we will be doing, Shara is going to pop off after we do this, but we will be doing our regular year in review episode with our own categories. But before we do that, Shara, what are we doing first?
So we've talked about this all year. I wouldn't say all season, but I guess all year. How we're going to go back to our rankings and think about them at the end of the year. So this is, I'm kind of thinking of this as a Spotify Wrapped, but for the rankings of our shows. I will
Wait, sorry to interrupt
this.
you for a second. Speaking of Spotify Wrapped, thank you for people that have listened to us in 36 countries this year.
Wow.
I don't have the full information. I just picked up on the 36 countries.
36 countries.
Wow.
United States being number one. Thanks to the US. Okay, go ahead.
So with the caveat that I think you guys will talk about how many shows you have been to this year after.
Yeah.
And some of the ones we're going to talk about, actually, technically you didn't see this year, but we're just ranking we're talking about the ranking that like within the episodes that we released this year. I will also say, I feel like this is like a very 2024 Spotify Wrapped in the sense of there were no surprises and everyone's favorite artist was Taylor, but I think there will be no surprises, but I am curious about how much you guys remember with your rankings.
Wow.
So to start it off, we're going to start it off easy. What do you think was the highest ranking show this year?
Well, we only gave 110, and we've only ever given 110, and that was.
We'll never give a 10 again. I don't know. I agree.
I said that. I will rewind to the clip of me saying in like February when Merrily was released that I will never ever give a 10 again. So please enjoy that.
10 out of 10.
Wow, I didn't think you were going to do it. I didn't think you were going to do it. I am also giving this, and I will never give this out again.
Wow, never again, Tara. Have we been too effusive?
A 10 out of 10. Posters in frames to hang on the wall. But yeah, we'll never give a 10 again.
Yeah, I agree. Merrily was the one. Did we both give a 10? Were we both 10?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it was just, it is an imperfect show, but it was like so perfect in that moment for us.
I think that was like the exact quote, only because I listened to this today as I was preparing for this. That was like your exact quote in the episode as well. So well done. Again, you didn't change it all.
Yeah, those are my feelings. That's how I feel. That's
amazing.
My opinion.
Okay.
And I will say, unfortunately, there has not been a show that has like altered my brain chemistry in the same way since. Yeah. So sorry to every show out there, but like, I know. it's hard to top that for now. Okay, go ahead.
On the other end of the spectrum, do you guys think you can name your least favorite show that you saw this year?
I know Steph's, but let me look at the list.
We all know Steph's.
Oh, you know what? I was gonna say one thing, but I'm actually gonna say my true hate, which was Back to the Future. My other guess was Aladdin, so that's where I was at.
I think mine is Aladdin.
Oh, not even close, actually. Well, wow. Yeah. I guess kind of close. But no. Do you have a second guess?
Oh, was it Tina?
Yeah.
Wow, Tina.
By 2 points lower than anything else you ranked.
What was it?
What did you rank
3.
Tina? You ranked Tina a 3.
That's I stand by. Excuse me. You gave a 2, I think, to Back to the Future, or a 3.
She actually didn't. She gave it a 3 as well.
She gave it a 3.
Wow. Tina and Back to the Future, same. Wait, what did Steph give Tina?
4.
Oh, okay. So,
what did I give Aladdin?
You both gave it a 5. With you both ranked it a 6 at intermission. So I don't know what happened in Act 2, but clearly not something.
I don't remember this.
Don't recall. Wow, that's so funny. Wow, not a 3. So sorry to.
Are you though?
Tina Turner. I mean,
I'm sorry to Tina Turner. I'm not sorry to.
She's not sorry to Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. I'll lower it. I'll bring it down.
Sorry. Okay. Which of you do you think is the tougher critic? Like on average, which do you think gave higher or lower rankings? Like I added them all together and averaged them.
I think Steph is tougher.
Oh, I was gonna say I think I give higher ratings.
Oh.
I think the opposite. Lower ratings.
You think?
Okay, actually, which I think is interesting. I think this is part of the fact that like you guys see everything together and like are kind of have similar interests. You guys are very close. So Steph gave a 6.4 on average, and Tara gave a 6.5.
Wow.
So just a little.
I was just a little lower, just a little harsher, I really think probably Back to the Future gave me that edge.
Well, but we both I don't think so this year. So
we did.
And we also both gave it 10.
Tara only gave Back to the Future a 5. So it's not like she's screaming.
It's halfway. That's the midway point for me.
It's halfway. Wow. So yeah, pretty similar. I do think, especially doing this podcast together and like sitting together most of the time, sometimes I find our opinions like meld. And so when we sit apart for shows, I love sitting with you all the time, Tara, but sometimes when we sit apart, I'm like, okay, good. I can like form sometimes my own thoughts without like it like radiating out to each other.
We also don't talk about it until we do this if we don't sit together, which is like funny. We'll just get a overall like, yeah, it was good. And then that's it. We never talk about it again.
What do you think, which shows do you think have like the biggest spread? Whereas like we talked, this doesn't happen too often, but what shows do you think were like the biggest difference about who liked it and who didn't?
Oh, wow. That is hard.
I'm
like going through, what did we see?
Yeah, honestly, you guys agree a lot, but there's only 3 shows that you were more than 2 like points different.
Okay, here's a guess. Mean Girls.
Yeah, nice. You got one. There's 2 more.
I rated it higher.
It was fun.
Something Rotten.
Yes. Okay.
Wow.
Nice. You got one more.
Okay. This is rough.
I'm also
Tina?
like, what did we do an episode on? No, Tina, I feel like we were pretty similar.
You were
pretty close. I'll give you last. It was Back to the Future.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Tara didn't quite trash it the same way. Okay.
I didn't trash it at all. Mine was constructive criticism.
So first was Aladdin, a 5 and a 5 across the board.
I stand by that.
Back to the Future, 3 for Steph, 5 for Tara. Do you guys remember what you picked? That was my other question. Do you remember? No. I don't know if you remember anything, but what was your favorite random object you chose?
I also feel like halfway through we like stopped committing to that, but maybe we
There's a couple where you just didn't.
I feel like we mostly do it, but I definitely am picking in my mind right before it comes out of my mouth.
You can tell.
Same. Yeah.
So can't really say I'm like
knowing in advance.
Gatsby Broadway. Steph was a 4. Tara's a 5.
You gave Gatsby Broadway a 4? Damn, Steph.
And I stand by that. That's to be fair for the out of town tryout, but I stand by it.
What about with the new casting that we'll never see?
That's worse.
I know, I agree. Ryan McCartan and Sarah Hyland. Sorry to you.
Okay, Merrily we're at 10s, as we discussed. Tina, Steph is 4, Tara's 3. ART, Gatsby, we're 8 and 8. Mean Girls, Steph's a 7, Tara's a 5. Something Rotten, Steph's a 5, Tara's a 7. Lacage, Steph's a 9, Tara's a 8.
Wow, 9. You really did that.
I know. I really did like that.
My Fair Lady, Steph's a 7, Tara's a 6. Sunset, you both are 8s, and Lion King, you both are 7s.
Yeah, I think I probably would keep that across the board.
Those are pretty reasonable.
The only thing, and I'm just saying, like, from an outside perspective, listening to all these episodes, I wonder if you would put Sunset and ART Gatsby above La Cage aux Folles, because, like, that's actually, La Cage was higher because Steph gave it a 9. But, like, that's the only thing.
I think content-wise, I would agree with the rating of Steph. I think experience-wise is different, but I feel like when we rate things,
I'm gonna send you this list in order.
I think when we rate things in the episode, I feel like it's more of like how we feel in that moment, whereas now, like, I can critically think of like different things, which like you'll hear us talk about these shows, I'm sure, when we go through our actual list here.
And to like specifically compare La Cage to something like Sunset.
Yeah, that's fair.
At the end of the day, Sunset Boulevard is still not good, but I really like this production.
Yeah.
Whereas I think La Cage aux Folles
is great.
Like as a book, as a piece, holds up to any production. Maybe not any production, but will hold up to multiple different productions and interpretations in a way that Sunset, this specific production, like really relies on the director's vision.
Agree.
So
I mean, La Cage has stood up. It's like how old compared to the other ones. And then
Sunset is also,
again, I regretted not seeing ART with you guys, and here we are thinking everything's going to be re-envisioned.
I think it's going to be so different. Maybe not. Who
but
knows?
That's why that like time capsule is like so special, because it's like there could be so many versions of things along the line.
It's why it's
so
so fun
remember how things sound. No, except for
there are recordings out there. I really wish I downloaded that TikTok. I really wish.
Same.
I really wish I downloaded that TikTok.
I just go through my voice notes because I think there was a moment when I was like voice noting like what it sounded like. Yeah.
The Golden Girl.
There you go. Or like,
Golden Girl.
Can you hear it roar? That's all I got. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
What is that one? Yeah. We just like little snippets that we've got.
That's all we got.
But yeah, wow. No, I stand by that. I stand by all those ratings.
Yeah, honestly, reading it, I was like, yeah, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I like kind of that year-end perspective. So it'll be interesting to see next year. Some of the stuff we saw this year will be included in that. Some new stuff. So yeah, it's interesting.
All right. Well, thanks, Shara.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks. Have fun, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for all your help on the podcast. Thank you for everything you do. Wow.
Bye. Okay. What are we starting with?
Wow. This is hard. Should we start with?
Do we always? I feel like we never start with show of the year, but maybe we do start with show of the year.
I was going to suggest starting with show of the year because, you know, it's sometimes it sets the tone for what's going to happen. I tried to spread it around a little bit.
Yeah. We were talking about this off the mic, but this year, I think more than previous years, a lot of New York content is here. Me specifically, because I went twice this year. But we did see all of those shows when we went in October. So, like, there's a lot to play off of here. But some Toronto, some Stratford on my list. But there's... most of what we were saying off the mic is the things that we're looking forward to is a lot of Canadian things for next year. So with that, let's start with honorable mentions if you have any honorable mentions for your top 3 shows.
I do. So I listed out kind of the 33 plus Shakespeare in the Park.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We never said. Yes. Tell everybody how many shows you saw this year.
So I, in my hand, have all the programs playbills that I saw this year. Oh, there's one that I left on the table. And here's my stack. So there's 34 programs in here. One of them is for the symphony, so I don't count that. So I saw 33 shows this year, plus Shakespeare in the Park, Hamlet, which was fine, you know, all good. So this is my pile. I like this like really visual representation of everything. I like the pink. Where's the pink? That's New York.
The ads.
The ads at the back. And, you know, lots of Mervish playbills, some like, you know, Crows, brochures, all up in here. So I saw 33 things this year. And I wrote down the list, a bunch of repeats actually. Some things seen multiple times here as well. And then I kind of went through and circled, you know, I wasn't even thinking of a specific number and went through and circled ones that were like special that I thought this year, ones that I was really excited about. It was actually a pretty consistent year overall, like nothing terrible, I don't think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I ended up circling 10 shows. So 10 that were kind of like, oh wow, really like this, would recommend this. This was like a special experience this year. And so my two, and then I kind of brought it down to 5. It's hard. All 10 of those I really, really liked. And I think I'll talk about all of them in different ways here. But my 2 honorable mentions for this category are Oh Mary, honestly the hardest I've laughed in a theater in a long time, and La Cage aux Folles, just like a show that I wasn't so familiar with that I just like adored after seeing it. So those are my 2 honorable mentions.
Wow, we have different honorable mentions.
Wow.
I saw 41 shows this year. I did count the symphony, so I guess it would be 40 plus the symphony, so 41. And we will say we are so lucky to be gifted so many tickets. So thank you to everybody who has gifted us a ticket in the city, outside of the city, Mervish, Stratford, Shaw Festival.
Coal Mine gifted us this year.
Yes.
How did I get the Message in a Bottle ticket again? I like randomly won that on Instagram. Shout out to them.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's who we got our tickets from this year. But all of them, like, we're so lucky.
Yes, but also a big thank you to Mervish and the Stratford Festival for like pretty constantly supporting us with getting helping us get interviews for the podcast as well. So a big thank you. We would not be able to see as many shows as we do if we were not gifted these tickets. So a big thank you for that. My 2 honorable mentions, as I just said, thank you to all of the Toronto people that gifted us tickets, were 2 sets of tickets that I paid for. So my first honorable mention is The Outsiders. I just feel like, I mean, it was the best musical winner this year. I feel like it was a very like special show. I love the set design. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I feel like it has a lot going for it. And when it eventually goes on tour, I think it will be a perfect tour show. And then my second honorable mention is this most recent Cabaret. The only version I've ever seen of Cabaret. So, yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And I do think it will also come up again on my list a little bit later. Yeah. But with that, let's do the top 3. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's your number 3?
My number 3, we took a little road trip this year, Tara, and we saw Gatsby and American Myth. Number 3.
Me too.
That was exciting. Like, it was exciting. Part of it is I love seeing things in development, especially when they're good. I love getting to see it kind of an element of the process, a stepping stone. And that one I thought was in such good shape. And almost like, I felt almost ready to go, like really close to being ready to go. The cast was gorgeous. The music was really, really good. I love that Florence music. I like that set. I like that choreography. Just everything about it really excited me. So I was excited to see it again. Who knows what will happen now? Tara, what do you think?
No, I completely agree. As we said earlier, our 2-hour and 10-minute episodes, so we obviously like really kind of deep dived into the story of The Great Gatsby, I felt. And I just think that this show was making such incredible scripting choices and like bringing the words from the book to such a new meaning in this production. I mean, you know, our Broadway boyfriend, Isaac Powell, like what a star. Ben Levi Ross to me, like amazing. All of the women in the show, like the way that they kind of, so many characters didn't have a gender. Like I just loved everything about this show. And yeah, it's crazy to think that what we just said, that we might have seen a version that will never, ever be seen again. Yeah. So, but I kind of love that. Cause
no, it feels, that's what's special about theater. That's what's special about theater.
You know what? I'm going to reinsert our live thoughts right after we saw Gatsby in Boston.
We should do that more often. That was funny.
We should. It's Saturday, June 29th. It's almost 5:15 p.m. and we've just left the matinee performance of Gatsby and American Myth.
We are free from our yonder pouches.
I actually can't comprehend my thoughts right now.
To think about. I need to like read a lot. I need to think a lot. I need to ponder. Everyone sounded so amazing. No one's ever sounded more amazing than everyone in this show.
Yeah, I think that's what's so special about theater, in that it is, every time you see something, it is such a unique experience. And sometimes it's so unique in that only those people who saw it in that 6-week run will ever have those memories, and every other time it will be so different. And sometimes it's unique and just, you know, one little thing changes from night to night, or a different person is on or something. And that's what I think it's special, like that live energy. I actually want to shout out, I've talked about this before as an obsession, but the drama podcast, they had the book writer Martina Mayock on and interviewed her. And I think she had like really, really interesting things to say about the book and kind of putting it together, and where they pulled certain things from to add them to this adaptation, and kind of talking about how loyal / not loyal they decided to be to the book. I think that was like a really good interview, and I really liked hearing from her, and she's like a super interesting person. I just wanted, like, after I left, I just wanted to hear the entire creative team's thoughts on every single decision made, and I don't always really care about that.
I wanted to see the behind the scenes documentary of every single thought process that happened.
I needed, you know, a play-by-play of every choice made. And,
and we still haven't got it.
No, I don't know if we'll ever get it. Currently,
I know.
We've got Jeremy Jordan and Eva Noblezada just
wailing away on that cast recording.
Doing what they're doing. My green light.
Now I actually think that our top 3 are going to be the exact same, but here we go.
Maybe. Okay, my number 2. We're making our way to New York City.
Yeah, we are.
We got to talk about Sunset Boulevard. Sunset Boulevard. Again, another one where I'm like, I want to talk about every single choice made by the directors.
Should we
team on this one?
You know what I'm gonna insert? Please don't copyright us. We're gonna insert Patti LuPone's thoughts on this version.
Yes, please do. We agree. We're with her. Patti's thoughts.
I loved this production. I thought Nicole and Tom were stunning. I thought Nicole was unbelievable. She broke my heart. She is a force. I thought the cast was fantastic. The lighting, the use of the filming. I was energized when I left the theater. I loved it.
This is the thing. Like, okay, so when we again, this was a show that, like, unlike Gatsby, we knew what we were getting into because of the West End, but we still didn't know what we were getting into. I know. And I don't think I talked about this because this happened after we did our episode, I believe. Or maybe I did talk about it on the episode, I'm not sure. But I had recommended this to, like, one of my friends from work, and then they saw it with their family, and she was like, thank you for the recommendation. Like, one of the coolest things I've ever seen on stage.
Oh, wow.
And I think we said this on the episode, like, this is not for everybody, but I also think it's for everybody. So, like, it's a weird in-between, I don't know, like, so much happened after we saw it in the social media world, but I think that that's calmed down.
Even if you don't like this show, I think there's a lot of really interesting things happening that will make you think and give you just something to, you know, leave that was interesting to you.
Well,
even if you think the show's bad.
What you said before of, like, the difference between, like, Sunset and Lacage of, like, you know, Lacage has a great script and Sunset doesn't, but it also, like, doesn't matter for this production. But we also talked about how much we both enjoyed the movie. So yeah. I don't know. I do think there's a lot going for this. Obviously, the performances are what takes this over the edge. And then some of the best screens I've ever seen on Broadway.
Like really, really cool directorial choices.
Yeah, so good. So completely agree on that. Which, like, should we just, like, go at the same time here for our number one?
Okay, I think so. Are you ready?
1, 2, 3. Comet.
Yes, great Comet. Wow, crazy.
You know what? I don't think this has actually happened.
No, I don't think
we've done this before.
I agree. I don't think this happened before. This was so much fun. We saw it twice this year. And we're seeing it again next year. This was this is one of our most anticipated shows for years. We finally got to see it back in January. And it lived up and beyond. I loved it. I just, like, adored, you know, everything that Crows and Musical Stage did in that venue. I love that music. I love that story. Again, another, in my opinion, strong book, strong script. Really cool stuff happening here.
This was also a show, you know what? Like, we didn't do a dedicated episode, so I actually don't know how much we've actually talked about Comet.
You're so right. We didn't, because we saw it in January when we're off.
But then we saw it again.
We still didn't talk about it.
No, but have we not talked about it at all?
We've, like, brought it up here and there, but, you know, we never did a dedicated episode to it, which I think will be rectified this year.
Next year.
Because it's obviously transferring to the Royal Alex Theatre, a much bigger space. I was on the Toronto Theatre Reddit, and maybe you can give insight as your family or subscribers, but people's seats have been moved around. So it sounds like they are kind of doing something in the audience with the staging. Like, people's regular subscriber seats have been changed for this specific show. So again, it just sounds like, I don't know if the stage is getting bigger, if they're moving seats around, what they're doing. So, you know, that gives us a little bit of insight into staging. One of my favorite parts was kind of the immersive element, sitting, like, so close to the stage. The first time we saw it, when what's their names? They, like, almost kissed, like, right beside me. I was so excited. It was so exciting for that to just happen so close. It was exhilarating.
The other thing too. Sorry, this is playing. We're at the Royal Alex. I'm just looking. Yeah. These are different seats than our normal seats.
People have been talking about being moved back.
Yeah, so my family normally at the Royal Alex would sit in, like, row D, and our tickets here are for G. So
yeah, everyone's been moved back a bit in the first.
That's fun. That's exciting. Something else with this show is that ask any person that loves theater and goes to theater a lot in Toronto their thoughts on Great Comet, and everybody has the same reaction. This was, like, the people's show. Everyone was obsessed with it.
It kept extending. remember that?
Every day. We were like, oh my God. There was a moment when we thought that we were not going to see it at all because
the run was short. It had sold out.
Yeah.
And we're like, because we were trying to coordinate a media ticket, and so we were waiting.
Yeah. It was so sold out, and like for good reason. And then I believe we did say this on an episode, I don't know which one, but like we were so committed to going to that final performance that we like lined up in the cold. We rushed it. And yeah, like it's one of my favorite performances I've seen in like a couple years. It was so amazing to see what they could do in that space, and like this cast is so good, and the cast has been announced now for Mervish. So many friends of the podcast are in it, which is amazing. We are really hoping to talk to Haley Gillis. We're gonna put that out into the universe, but we would love to talk to Haley Gillis.
We're like the biggest fans of her voice. Even just being at that final performance when they didn't have anything planned for the final performance, but the audience like would just not let them leave, like would just not let them go, because everyone was just like so in love with what they had done there.
It was so amazing. It's like one of the best like things I think it was the co-pro like came out of that. So like, and also for this to transfer to Mervish, I think is like a really big win for the city. It's great to see like such a major theater market like reach out to these smaller houses to have more people see this work.
Have it be part of subscription too, so to get it in like so many eyes on this show.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Very exciting.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So funny. Wow, in the same order too.
I know. I actually played with the order a few times, and then I was like, no, there's absolutely no way that nothing else is number one except for Comet. So
yeah. Wow.
Okay, where do we want to go next?
Let's go best repeat, I think.
I only have one answer here.
Well, okay, so my honorary mention is Comet, because we saw it twice, but the first one was also this year. But like the true best repeat for me this year, I think, was Six.
I swear? Okay. I was like, if we have the same, but I actually don't.
We don't. Was Six. I just love Six so much. I was just so happy to get to see it 3 times this year, 3 times last year. Truly the moment where I was like, I am living a blessed life is when they reached out to us asking us if we wanted to come to the final performance. And
when we were at the airport.
Because we were on a flight home from Italy, and I'm like, I'm living a blessed life. I can't go to this thing that I love because I'm in Italy. Like...
Yeah, like Mervish was so generous to us with these 6 tickets. They knew that we were such huge fans. You can catch us in their Galentine's Day video on Instagram. But I will should I put the clip? I'll put the clip in.
Put the clip in right now.
I'll put the clip in. Getting to see a show with one of your best friends and have a party with all these girls on stage, like that is the definition of Galentine's. Happy Galentine's! But yeah, they really knew that we were such huge fans of the musical. We got to interview Julia Pulo and Julia McClellan on the podcast, and to talk to them about like what Six meant to them and what it meant to the city. It was just, it's like one of my favorite shows ever, and it will remain there, I think, forever. I do agree with you. Like I've seen Six. We've seen it what, like 7 times? I think I've seen it 7 times.
I've seen it 7 times. Yeah. I saw it 6 times in Toronto, and I think you ended up seeing it 5 times in Toronto.
Yes, and I saw it once in New York, and then we obviously saw the Chicago. Yeah. We've loved this musical for a long time. So the fact that it actually came to Toronto last year was like so exciting to us, and then to see it as many times as we did was amazing. But my best repeat is Come From Away.
Come From Away. Oh wow, I thought you were gonna say like Anne Juliet, but Come From Away. Come From Away.
No,
I love Come From Away.
You know what? So we saw this on opening night. We saw we've seen this. Well, we've only seen it together twice, right? We saw it when theater was reopening in 2021. And then I recently saw it with a couple of my friends from work, and so many of them had never seen it before, which is always exciting when you go with someone that's never seen it before. And like, as I'm sitting there watching this and then hearing what like other people that have never seen this have to say, I'm like, you know what? This is a perfect musical. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this musical, and it hits every time. And I think I texted you this, but something that was like great to me is that so many understudies were in the day that I saw it most recently, and it's just as good no matter who is in that role, which I think is like a real, like, true testament of the script. It does not matter who plays the character. The dialogue, like, is there. It hits every time. You are on this, like, journey the whole way through. And I literally think it is, like, a perfect musical and, like, a show that everybody should see. Come From Away has extended again in Toronto. It's here till April now, so definitely, like, try to get a ticket. Rush tickets are, like, readily available all the time. But yeah, if you have not seen it, go see it. If you've seen it, go take someone that hasn't seen it, because, like, it's a really nice experience to see it with someone that hasn't seen it before. I remember, actually, like, I don't think we've talked about this, but when we went on opening night, like, I took my brother Corey, who had never seen it, and we were discussing with him that year of the Tony Awards, and, like, the polarizing year of the Dear Evan Hansen versus Come From Away. And he was like, how could that even compete? Like, he's seen both of those shows. And to think, you know, we've had the discussion on the mic many times of how things don't hold up with time. But to hear it, like, he said the exact same thing. And he really loved that musical. So it's really just, like, again, like Comet, the People's Musical. It's for everybody. So
was that same year as well, I think? I think Comet was also the Evan Hansen Come From Away year.
Damn, what a year.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. I think because it was the year after, like, Hamilton and Waitress. So it was, like, the 2016 Tony Awards, and the next season was, like, Comet, Dear Evan Hansen, Come From Away, and then, like, Groundhog Day. Like, those were the best musical nominees. Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, an honorable mention, Anne Juliet, which, like, we're going to see it again here.
I know, it's coming back.
Can't wait. I'm so excited.
Back again. My other one that was a repeat for me was
The Outsiders. The Outsiders was also a repeat for me. Moulin Rouge. Oh my God. An actual shout out to Moulin Rouge. The man that's playing Christian.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's his name?
My parents saw it last night, and my dad texted me saying, the guy that played Christian was incredible. He sings so effortlessly. And I was like, I agree.
Christian Douglas is his name.
His Roxanne.
Voice. His, like, Roxanne, his, like, a Chandelier, Roxanne, crazy rolling kind of back to back. I was like, wow.
He is good.
Yeah,
what a
voice. Roxanne. Even I was with, you know, my friend Alessandra, who did she see? Derek Klena?
Yeah, I think so.
She saw Derek Klena. My parents also saw Derek Klena.
They didn't like him. I loved him.
They didn't like him. And she's like, this guy's Roxanne. Because I don't know, but I think he might be doing it in Aaron's key.
Yeah, well, the funniest was Shar and I were sitting together, you and Alessandra were sitting together, and, like, from across the theater, she was like, Roxanne! Like, as we were leaving, and I was like, I agree, like, one of the best I've ever heard. So,
shout out to
very,
him.
very good. Yeah. Actually, also, so Moulin Rouge is here right now. It will be here through the holidays, so you can still go to see it. I did see an email recently that, like, there's decent pricing over the holidays if you're interested. So, like, really good vocals on this tour, so very impressive.
The set is definitely pared down from Broadway, absolutely, but I do think it's still pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
Pretty beautiful design.
I'm trying to, like, other repeats, I saw The Outsiders twice this year. I've seen La Cage before, but, like, I don't really remember it, so this was definitely, like, a more
showier. Lion King repeat for you?
Lion King repeat for me. I feel the same way about it. Anything else?
You'd seen Mamma Mia before, but I hadn't.
Oh, true.
Aladdin, but who cares?
Aladdin.
Les Mis.
Literally, this whole list is repeats.
I know. This was a classic production of Les Mis. I have no complaints about this production. I know. That was new for me, but not for you. So, best repeat.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's maybe do top 3, or let's do maybe surprise of the year.
Yeah, okay. So I have 2 honorable mentions here, but then I have like the main 3.
I do not have an honorable mention. I have my 3 surprises, let's say.
Okay, I actually think one of my... Hang on, I'm trying to get my playbills. I think your honorable mention is probably my honorable mention is probably one of your surprises, so I will save that one, so I'll choose the other one that you definitely did not see, which is my honorable mention for the year. I'm like, did I pull it? I don't think I pulled it. I didn't pull it. My honorable mention is The Heart of Rock and Roll, a show that everybody hated but me.
You didn't hate necessarily.
No,
it's funny. The right time.
I actually, Kate Ranking, Theater is Life, posted a TikTok of her surprises of the year. It wasn't necessarily like favorite shows of the year, and The Heart of Rock and Roll also made that list.
I was watching their live, like their TikTok live last night. I was just as I was doing this.
The Thursday Theater Talk. Sometimes I watch Kate, but
there were some guests as well, so I was like, oh, let's watch this. Ashley was there. Broadway Ben was there.
Yeah. The usual suspects.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the bubble wrap tap number, like, was thrilling. So, and like, Corey Cott, what a voice. Mackenzie Kurtz, what a voice. So,
Voices.
I was served vocals. But yeah, okay, top 3. Go for it.
Okay, my third, I'm gonna have to say, and maybe this is just, the build-up that I had to it, but my number 3 surprise, Mean Girls. I had a wonderful time.
That's an honorable mention if I ever saw one.
I had a good time at Mean Girls. Okay? Number 3 surprise of the year. What about you, Tara? What was your... Like, it was not that bad.
But what about the wigs?
The wigs were the worst things I've ever seen. The costumes at some points were terrible. But at intermission, I turned to Shara, because you did not want to come. No. And I turned to Shara and I said, this is not that bad. I'm having a good time. I'm having a nice time. So, right. Go on. What was your number 3?
Okay, my number 3, much less commercial than that. Dion, a rock opera.
You know what? I had such a good time with Dion, too.
This was one of the first things we saw this year. Yeah. We also got to interview Jacob, who played Dion, on the podcast, so you can listen to that episode.
Talk about a voice.
Love talking to Jacob. They were so fun. This is such a interesting character to play. Especially we've been in that coal mine space before, but to see it be completely transformed for this show to kind of be in the round, kind of, was really interesting. It was just cool, and like I still hear like the Dion, like like it's in my head. So if I saw the show like in February and I'm still singing this in December, like good for you. So I really enjoyed this.
I want to see more stuff like that. If people can give us recommendations, because sometimes I worry I'm not good enough at seeking it out. Please in the comments give us recommendations. What should we see? We love a musical more than a play, but like I'll also accept a play.
Yeah,
I think.
Something that's like new but also kind of weird and different. Like, I don't know.
I love things with music. Like for me, even when I talk about like favorite movies, I always find like, oh, there's so much music in this. Like it calls me. So I want music. Yeah. Most of the time. Even when I talk about like plays that I love, I'm like, oh, that had a lot of music in it, didn't it? Not this year necessarily, and we'll get to a play with music later. But I'm
actually shocked that wasn't in your shows of the year.
I know it'll come. But what was one that we loved that had so much music was like Indecent. Like
yes.
A play with a lot of music. Like I always find I have such a connection more to things with music. Anyway, my next surprise of the year, I gotta go MJ. Again, I had the time of my life. I had the time of my life at MJ.
It's fun. It's fun. It's also so fun when you pay $8.
When you pay $8 to sit in the back row of a giant theater and then move up at intermission. And make friends with everyone else who also moved up at intermission.
Also, shout out to, oh my God, what's his name?
Roman Banks,
who was amazing.
He's going to do it in Australia, I think I just saw.
Oh, wow.
He's going to MJ. He's going back to MJ, but I think in Australia. So, yeah, he was fantastic in it. And what I really liked about it is, we've talked about this before, but like the structuring of a biomusical is so hard. And I think MJ kind of nailed that in all biomusicals. I like the idea of kind of picking a moment in someone's life and like kind of branching out from there, as opposed to going either chronologically or even kind of just scattered with no structure. I liked the framing device of that, and I wish kind of more biomusicals kind of took that inspiration.
I think we talked about that with Tina, of like narrowing the focus is like really important.
Yeah. I don't need like a birth to death musical.
No, and MJ chooses like the 1992 is it Dangerous Tour? I can't remember.
Yeah, setting up. It must. Yeah, something like that. Like they're putting together a documentary of this 1 week in his life, and everything else that you learn is because of how it relates to this 1 week in his life.
Yeah, there's some like incredible standout musical moments from MJ. It's just like, I think it's really well done. I mean, it's been on Broadway for years now and like selling out. So yeah.
What was it when they did like kind of when you saw the back of when they filmed the Thriller music video? Almost? Yes. I was like, that is so cool. That whole
with the
sequence.
Jacket, right?
Yeah. When you're kind
that sequence when he's winning the Grammys all the way to the Thriller music video is
it's like a montage.
It's perfection.
So
it's
good.
Perfection. And they're singing Want to Be Starting Something. It's perfection. Like I am obsessed with that. Yeah, so good.
What's your number 2 surprise of the year?
Not a bio musical, but a band that wrote a musical. Tommy. I was obsessed with this when I saw it in New York. The Little Tommies specifically, obsessed with the girl that played younger Tommy. They were whipping her around on the stage. This was some of the, oh my God, inside the Tommy playbill, this Rock of Ages sticker. LOL. This was some of the coolest lighting I've seen on stage in a long time. We were like last row in the Nederlander Theater, and it was blasting in there. The music was so loud. Shout out to, where are you? I forget your name, but the guy that plays Tommy, Ali Lewis Borgozzi, I think is no, that's not right, but it's something like that. Also shout out to Adam Jacobs, who was really great in this, and Allison Luff, Bobby Conte. Like, it was just a really fun cast. The choreography in this show was something that I thought was a snub at the Tony Awards, to be honest, because it was such like, I don't know how to properly, not sharp, well, kind of sharp. It's almost like, like Matilda, because it's like in the UK, they have this like very specific style of like UK dance. That's what it felt like. It felt like very specific. But I also believe it's the same choreographer who did The Heart of Rock and Roll, which is totally different. Lauren Latero.
Oh, Lauren Latero. She did like Waitress as well, I believe.
Latero. But I think she also did The Heart of Rock and Roll because she had 2 in that season.
That sounds right to me.
But those were 2 completely different like dance styles in the same season. Oh, she also did Once Upon a Mattress stuff.
Wow.
Once Upon a Mattress, Into the Woods, Waitress, Doubtfire, and then has done like a bunch of plays. Chess. Wow.
Chess.
Yeah. Anyway, I love Tommy. It to me closed way too early. But I know that a lot of people, they had really horrible sightlines for rush seats for Tommy, and I actually think that was like to their detriment.
Was it the
Nederlander?
The Nederlander.
No, Nederlander. Yeah. Because there was big speakers that were on the ground, and it really like impacted a lot of people's seats, and I think that hurt them because a lot of people were rushing this show. But it was definitely for a specific audience. Like, your dad would have loved this. Like, my dad would have loved this. My mom loved this. Tyler loved this. Like, it was just a really fun show. Okay, number 1. I feel like now we might have the same number 1, but maybe we don't.
I actually just swapped out my number 1 because I had a repeat, and then I'm like, you know what? Let's give this airtime to something else. Let me pull out the program for it, because I couldn't believe I wasn't going to talk about this show. We got to talk about Message in a Bottle.
Okay, so that's my honorable mention, but I didn't know if you would have had it.
I literally didn't have it, and I just put it in. What a surprise. I had such a good time. This was great. This was so good. I went home and I listened to the Police music for like a week. Like
there will be a blooper of Steph in an upcoming post where she thought that Sting was part of the Beatles.
Sorry. I didn't think that. I just got confused for one second.
It's my favorite clip that's ever happened on the podcast, and everyone will see it like tomorrow.
Okay. Let me live. Okay. This was great.
It was great.
The music was good. The choreography was good. I really felt the storytelling was really clear, with no dialogue whatsoever. All you have is police songs and covers of police songs.
Speaking of Roxanne.
And it was so touching as well. I just really had a good time at this. Free as well, so can't complain. We almost didn't go, and they were like, oh, let's go. Because we got the tickets kind of randomly. And yeah, I just thought it was kind of really, really excellent. Shout out to Zoo Nation, the Kate Prince dance company that puts this on and kind of put together this tour. They went to New York after us. Just had like a really good time.
I believe we talked about this in an Obsession in an episode, but it was about like following a family. Was it a Syrian family?
Well, I think it was inspired by the Syrian refugee crisis. It doesn't specify where the refugees are from, but it is they're living in a country, they have to escape, and as part, it's a family of 5 plus one of the son's wives, and then both parents kind of die as they're escaping. The wife gets the wife and all the siblings all get separated, and you kind of see what's going on with all of them. And then I believe they all reunite at the end. I don't know if that was quite clear.
I was crying by the end.
No, it was really emotional.
Also,
what was the song they did at the end that was kind of like
arranged by Alex Lacklemore?
And we're fans. We're big fans of him.
The song that they did at the end, They Dance Alone?
They Dance Alone. No, what was the one that was So Lonely, when they were all 3 siblings?
Oh, So Lonely. Yeah.
Were kind of dancing.
It was really good.
Like, it was touching. I was there for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time at Message in a Bottle. So, highly recommend if it comes near you. Okay,
my number 1, which I feel like you might have just swapped out, Empire Records.
Yeah, I did just swap it out. I was like, I don't want to repeat. I'll get to Empire Records in a sec.
This was so good. Like, this was so good. This was one that I will be speaking about in our next category. But this was so good. I was, like, obsessed with this when we saw it. It was such a fun day because we saw Empire Records, and then we saw Anne Juliet. So it was just, like, a lot of, like, youthful energy.
We had to take the train.
Like, great cast. Great music. I loved this so much.
It's something that's in really good shape for another production, hypothetically.
Oh, you know what I had really here for a while, but I recently put it away? Like the Empire Records contract that was ripped up that we got.
Oh! I know. It was like on the ground and you took it.
It's somewhere here. The song list we have here. My favorite song in this was 137. Liam Pierce, what a star, who is now in Anne Juliet on Broadway.
Yes, Anne Juliet.
We saw his girlfriend in Mamma Mia, which we found out after the fact.
I know. I always got to do an Instagram stalk of the cast of things after I see them.
Yeah.
What was my favorite one? Oh, I think for me, Rex Manning Day.
Rex Manning Day was... Steph and I have talked about so many times off the mic. I do think we will do an Empire Records episode. We probably should have recorded this a long time ago, because do I remember everything that happened? Absolutely not. But we'll get back into my brain. We talked about, like, what a random role for Damon Downo.
He's a little miscast.
And if this ever did transfer, I do think he might be recast. But when he walked out, so funny. I was laughing, I was crying, which we'll talk about later, but, like, it was so good. Like, I would see this again in a second.
Like, Cover Me With Sound? Cover Me With Sound?
Yes.
Cover me with
Oh,
sound.
good.
I know, I got it. I
got
it. Sound. You know, it's like memorable. Like, heard it one time, it's memorable.
Yeah. It was just like really, it was so sweet. Like, I loved it so much. So
that was great.
Sadly it wasn't playing, well, it did extend, but it wasn't playing like that long. We don't know the life of this.
No, we saw the final performance.
Yeah. We saw the final performance. Yeah, it
was great.
I just like left the theater so happy to have seen this, which I feel like that doesn't always happen. So
no, I know.
It was really exciting.
Because we were like, should we go? Should we go to New Jersey?
Yeah, exactly.
And the answer was yes. We should have gone to
New
Jersey.
The answer was yes. Okay, so then I feel like that perfectly leads us into the most emotional moment of the year, right?
Most emotional category. I think it does.
I do have 2 honorable mentions here.
Give them to me.
Okay, so my first honorable mention, a show that I just talked about, Come From Away, gets me every time.
Yeah.
Every time we get the phone call from New York, I am a mess. When we saw this for the first time, when they reopened theaters in 2021, a mess. Yeah. What a beautiful show. What a beautiful story. We got to talk to Irene Sankoff this year, as you said earlier, so that was really exciting for us. But this gets me every time. I am bound to cry every single time I see this.
No, it does it. It does it every time.
My second honorable mention, I didn't necessarily like have a stream of tears, but it did really move me at certain moments, and that's Cabaret. I think we will talk about this a lot more when we actually do our dedicated episode to Cabaret, because this show that's been out for so many years feels so timely right now, which is crazy. But there are moments in this musical, there are stage pictures that like I will not forget, and yeah, it just like there are moments that definitely moved me in this show. So not 2 tears, but still like I felt something. So that's why it's an honorable mention. Okay, you're number 3.
Oh, actually, I will give you an honorable mention right now now that I think of it. I have to speak on Lion King. I really did cry multiple times throughout this show. I was moved. I had never seen it before. The Circle of Life did that.
Yeah. And that's really all.
I was tearing up during separate moments in the show.
When he gets trampled.
Not even when he gets trampled, just some of the stage pictures really, really beautiful. For me, that Act 2 opener, I can't remember what it's called, but I really, really loved that with the birds and the ensemble on stage. Obviously, He Lives in You, the reprise. They live in you. No, it's so good. So emotional. And also just like, it's so grand. It's hard not to be brought to tears by like how big the show is. Like it's such a spectacle in like a really beautiful way.
I think your 2 and 3 will probably be the same as mine, maybe interchangeable, but like we all know what your number 1 is.
I did have a severe emotional reaction to a certain show that I saw this year. And it will come. We will discuss in a couple of minutes. But let's start from the bottom. My number 3 most emotional show, La Cage aux Folles. I really sobbed during that.
Me too.
I was just so moved. I was so touched by everything that was happening. Every character felt like a whole real person on stage that I was getting to like experience with them, and I love that.
Agree. It felt like so authentic, so real, so not acted, which I might talk about later. But yeah, it was such a surprise. Didn't make it into the surprise list, but saved it for the emotional because I didn't expect to cry at this the way that I cried.
I was so emotional, so touched.
Okay, so your number 2 was obviously
my number 2, Empire Records. Sobbed from beginning to end. That was probably the hardest I cried because it was also tears of laughter.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, no. There were also like tears of laughter in this show that kind of exacerbated the tears of emotion, if that makes sense.
There was one, I can't even remember. It might have been during Rex Manning Day.
It might have been when I was losing it during Rex Manning Day.
Who was my favorite character? The man in the turtleneck.
In the turtleneck. What was his name?
Lucas. Shout out to Tyler McCall because I loved you. He was so funny to me, but yeah, we were crying. I've never cried so much from laughing before. Like I've been known to like shed a couple tears, wipe away a tear when laughing, but I was like streaming tears laughing. Yes. It was so funny.
100%. So there was tears from emotion, but then also tears of laughter, and combined, that's probably the hardest that tears shot from my eyes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because the end was like really touching.
Yeah.
It was just a lot. Like it was so good. Okay, we know your number 1.
Let me pull her up. My number 1 was Stereophonic. I could not hold it together. I was so moved by Stereophonic. In that front row, just sitting there crying, having a time. I really love Stereophonic. I know I didn't talk about it in my top 3 of the year, but it's hard because like as soon as I heard about this, I was like, this show is for me. And then I saw it and I was like, wow, it was for me. Like I was right. Yeah. I saw that and I knew, and then seeing it ended up being for me. I'm such a fan of like Will Butler, who wrote the music. I love, as I was saying, like anything that like is about music or like involves music usually like really, really speaks to me. And I love that this was about kind of like the creative process and about like these human beings and what they were putting into their art and kind of I love getting to just like live in a creative process. Like I am not someone who like makes like amazing art, but I like love like consuming it. So getting to consume it and also kind of almost like feel like you're inside it in this show. And to me, that ending where, what's his name, Rover, is that the text name?
Grover,
where he's Grover, sorry, I think I said Rover. Grover. It's just on him, and you just see his back, and he's at the mixing board, the soundboard, and he's just like changing the levels, and it goes on for like a minute or two, a couple minutes, and I just could not hold it together. I was just sobbing. It was a lot. It really spoke to me, this show, and that specific moment. The whole show spoke to me. You know, another one similar to La Cage aux Folles, like these characters felt like real people living their lives on stage, and you're kind of just getting a snapshot of this like, you know, few month process of them recording this album, but they feel like real people who existed before and who exist after this little snapshot that you get to see. And so yeah, I really love Stereophonic. Highly recommend. It's about to end its run.
Yeah. I think there's like a month left, maybe?
Yeah, January something.
3 weeks?
January something. They just did a tiny desk. But with the original cast.
Oh, okay.
Not the replacement cast.
I was watching Sabrina's Tiny Desk right before we got on here. I was like, why is there a Stereophonic playbill in the background?
They just did a tiny desk. And also the comments of the tiny desk are really funny because there's this band called Stereophonics, like a real band called Stereophonics. Yeah. And people thought when they clicked it was going to be them. And they're like, who are these people? And then a lot of people are like, wow, I just discovered a new band. And then people are being like, it's fake. It's fake. Not real. They're a fake band. But the playbill
that they had was the Pride bill. And I was like, when did they film
from like
it?
earlier in the year?
I guess,
they filmed it. They must have filmed it over the summer. Because it is with
so then that makes sense.
It is with the, again, original Broadway cast. And we saw the kind of replacement cast. Yeah,
it was like the first week.
Yeah, we saw their first week of the replacement cast. And I was nervous because people said they weren't, like, quite in it yet. But I thought they were great. They must have done it in the summer. But I think it's odd why they waited so long to post it. Because, again, the run's over in a month.
Yeah, true.
So, weird. But, yeah. What is your number one tearjerker?
Okay, my number one tearjerker is a show that I actually didn't like very much, but it did make me cry the most.
Please.
Including getting me these tissues.
Sure.
The Notebook, the musical. We never did a fully, I think I talked about this on like Obsession or something, or I recapped a New York trip. I saw this back in April. This was like sad to me because it was my most anticipated show of the like going into 2024, and then actually getting to see it, I was a little bit let down and disappointed. However, I was sobbing towards the end of this show because, like, for anyone that doesn't know what The Notebook is about, like, it really heavily focuses on dementia, especially towards the end. I had two grandmothers that went through dementia, and seeing it with my mom was just like a whole experience because you kind of like I do think, again, we're talking about like humanizing and like human experiences here, and I do think that they really like humanized older Allie and so many of the things that she was either just doing with like body language or the things that she was saying. Like, I saw that, I've seen that, so that really like hit me. There's still certain songs that I cannot listen to from this musical because they're just like make me too upset. But Notebook just closed like last week as we're recording this. I don't know. I don't think there will be any life of this. I don't see this as like a tourable show for some reason.
I think it is going on tour. I don't know. I can see it being licensed. Like, I can see, like, Drayton is about to eat this up. Drayton is about to eat The Notebook up.
It's gotta rain, though. It's gotta rain on stage.
It's giving Ghost. You know what I mean?
Oh, kind of. You're right. It is giving Ghost.
Drayton is about to eat The Notebook up. It has that name recognition.
You're right.
Graham Scott Fleming's about to come out of retirement. Okay, I don't know what Graham Scott Fleming's doing. Hope you're well, Graham.
But what is crazy about this show too is that like Joy Woods and oh my god, Jordan Tyson like left this. They're now in Gypsy, so like those two
reviews just came out.
John Cardoza is now in Moulin Rouge, so like everybody had a place to go basically in this cast except for maybe a couple people. But yeah, I didn't love this, but it did make me heavily cry, so that's why it's number 1 on this list.
No, The Outsiders in your tearjerkers? Most emotional?
No, I don't. I think I only teared up. The woman beside us that's her most emotional show of the year. The woman that was sobbing beside us.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
I do think there are like many beautiful scenes in The Outsiders, but like as an overall, Stay Gold really gets me, but like that's really it.
For me, thinking about like the end when they're like with Johnny and the...
Yeah.
Not even... No, what's his name? Dallas.
Yeah.
With his kind of like final song, for me, that was the most emotional moment in that show for me. But it did not make my list.
No.
But if I had to speak on it.
That was a great stage picture also.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Are we gonna do set? Did you do it?
I've got one set that I want to shout out here.
Okay, let me go through the list that I have because I have some honorable mentions as well. A show that we spoke on a bit earlier, Dion. I thought their set was really interesting when they brought all those balloons out.
Yeah, and they were like popping them. I forgot about that. That was crazy.
That was crazy. Another honorable mention for me, Gatsby. The like silver almost car pieces that they created on set. Myrtle and Wilson's bedroom kind of or dining room kind of set that they had. Nothing will ever top the screens of the Broadway Gatsby, but like this one was really interesting set wise. Another honorable mention set. Oh my god, where are you? You know what? I don't think I pulled it. My Fair Lady. I loved the study room. I thought it was so beautiful, so well done. So that's another honorable mention. And then I guess like my top 3, third place would be Cabaret, just because of what they did to the August Wilson Theater. I saw Mean Girls there, and to think that show and this show exist in the same theater is crazy.
It's crazy.
We sat in the new mezzanine seats.
The small balcony, if you will.
The small balcony, yeah, which was cool.
Last
I loved.
row.
Yeah, great sight lines. I loved that the band was on top, but then when we kind of like walking through the theater in general.
Yeah, like the lobby and the basement.
It's beautiful. Like the pre-show, the bathrooms, like everything is so cool.
I was on Reddit. I think I sent this to you.
I know, yeah.
But no shots. They're done giving the cherry schnapps shots. They're cutting the budget. We were probably one of the last few weeks to get those shots. We were near the end.
And they were warm,
schnapps.
So it's fine that
they were
it's
warm.
gone.
It was really small. It was so nasty.
Something that we will both shout out because we're both obsessed with it right now is the Cabaret vlogs on Broadway.com. Marty highly recommend. Marty is taking us around and it's so interesting.
When they had John Kander come on the stage, I'm like, that man looks amazing for being 96 years old. That's crazy. And speaking about the show, that was really one of my favorites. But yeah, I love watching his makeup, walk around the...
Yeah, the makeup tutorials are amazing. Yeah. But yeah, what they did to that theater is pretty incredible. So have to talk about that. Just said about stage picture, but the Outsiders set, having that like rubber gravel was really cool. I'm very interested to see what they'll do on tour because I think you need that. But the stage picture of the train, the cars on stage, the burning house, like lots of cool things happening at the Outsiders. But my number 1 is Comet.
Yeah, I agree. That's the best set of the year.
And we don't even know what it's going to look like in a bigger space. So
I know.
As you were saying about the moving of the seats, like that gives me hope that things will be cool. But we know what it looked like on Broadway. So yeah. I don't think they're going to try to fully replicate that, but I hope that they try to do something kind of similar. Yeah.
Have you seen what it looks like in the West End right now?
No.
Not like this. Very weird. Very industrial almost. Very gray. And the costumes are very, very different. It's very interesting.
All right.
Jamie Moscato as Angel.
Yeah. I know. That is such good casting. Yeah.
But yeah, the set is like very, very different. So.
Okay, are we at our like performance of the year?
Yeah, I think so. Performances of the year. Oh, do you have a cast recording of the year? I have like, let's say like 2 cast recordings of the year for me.
Okay, so I do and I don't. But based on my replay because I'm not a Spotify user.
There's an Apple.
I do need to shout out maybe the funniest thing.
Please do.
So I'm gonna pull up my replay. So Apple will split by month to show me my top artist of the month.
Interesting.
And from January to September, it was Taylor Swift.
Wow.
In October, it was Andrew Lloyd Webber. So I think with that, I have to say that my cast recording of the year would be Sunset Boulevard.
Wow.
I think that the orchestrations on that cast recording are so good.
Gorgeous.
For being live. And I just think they really like got to capture how it sounded in that theater. I was like, I listened to it, I think, for a month straight. So
wow.
And still,
that wasn't even one I was going to talk about, but I forgot about that one. That one's also really great.
So it's probably that. I'm just going through my stuff. Like, I listened to a lot of the other Great Gatsby. My Green Lake was like a top song for me.
Not that.
Random. The Notebook is here. Outsiders is here. A lot of the stuff that like I saw the first time I went to New York, like took over the top half, and then Sunset took over the bottom half. So yeah. You?
I have two that I really want to talk about. The first one is one I've kind of spoken about already, Stereophonic. I was listening to that album before we saw the show, and after we saw the show, you know, when we came home, that was the cast album that I like played on repeat over and over and over. The other cast album of the year is, I've been kind of trying to figure out where to talk about this because I feel like I actually need to give it time, but I'm going to speak about it. Like, I do want to, like, give it time because I really think what it's done is really excellent, but I really love the Warriors cast album from Lin-Manuel Miranda earlier this year. Like, I really, really loved what they did with it. I loved that it felt like this complete story. I loved the, you know, merging of all these different genres. I think some of the performances on it, like what Philippa Sue is doing in Reunion Square.
What she's always doing.
But it's fun because, you know, obviously I listen to her in Hamilton so much, and I loved her in Into the Woods. She's always playing these, like, sweet characters. And for the first time, like, I don't know if I would call it rapping, but she gets to kind of, like, patter and kind of, like, you know, use her voice in a different way. And what she's doing at the end of Reunion Square is so great. And, like, specifically, my favorite moment of the whole cast album, I think, is the last 2 minutes of the final song, where it kind of brings back the motif of Somewhere in the City. Like, I cannot listen to it without crying. I think it's so good. There are some song, like a beautiful standalone song is like Same Train Home. Like, I really think, like, I want to give this album time. I don't know if right now is the moment to give it time, but like I really loved Warriors, and then after I listened to it, I was like, I had fallen off of listening to cast albums, and then after that I kind of went back into listening to a bunch of different cast albums. Like, I did In the Heights right after, because I was like, you know what, I gotta keep going.
Steph's been listening to Floyd Collins. It's been cut from a previous episode, and it will make its way into a new episode. So
it's gonna come back.
Speaking of that, actually,
I will speak of Floyd Collins again. Okay.
I watched Lizzie McAlpine's like vlog where she was vlogging her audition process.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she, it's actually like really interesting to see because she started the process, I think, in September, which not that long ago.
No. When was Elsie Fest? Like, was it before Elsie Fest or after Elsie Fest?
I think it must have been like, or during, around that time. I feel like Elsie Fest is always in October. I think it was the week after we were there.
No, it was before we were there.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because remember we were up there, we're like, this is where Elsie Fest was.
Maybe it was the week before we were there. I think it's end of September-ish.
Yeah, because it was before Rachel started Romeo and Juliet.
So then, no, I don't think she got the part yet because this is a slight tangent, but like it's interesting to like see this stuff because she's obviously like not a theater person. She had a tour that she was planning. Like, it's a whole different ball game for someone that's got like a different career. But she flew to New York for a callback, was in the room with like Tina Landau, right? That's her name?
Yeah, Tina Landau.
Yeah. Was in the room with her, I think was like auditioning opposite across like a few different people. I don't think like Jeremy was attached at the time. Actually, I feel like he's been attached for a long time. But I don't know that they told her like anybody that was going to be in it, just that they were seeing whatever people. So then she did her whatever, and then that night she got a call being like, we'd like you to attend the final callback.
Oh wow.
It's between you and 3 people. And that's when she was like, do I actually want to do this? Because I'm planning to go on tour like next year. And I don't know what this means but like I do want to do this, but also like the imposter syndrome of like, am I good enough to do this? It was like super interesting to watch her. She's very young too, so it's like fun to see that. Anyway, she does the final callback.
Elizabeth Calpine's Ceilings, Doomsday. Yeah. I'm a fan.
So then she does the final callback, and they offered her the workshop. They didn't even offer her the role yet, because I think at this point it probably wasn't like 100%. Like, we didn't know dates or anything for, like, a long time.
I think we knew, like, theater, but I agree we didn't know dates. Like, we knew it was going to be at the Lincoln Center.
It was announced, but, like, that was it. So then she did the workshop, and she said on the final day of the workshop they offered her the full contract. But between her final callback and the workshop, she was, like, on tour in Europe. So, and she was... she's been releasing like bonus tracks of her album, but they were like, oh my god, does this mean that she's writing a new album? She's like, guys, I'm actually going to Broadway, so I don't have time to write a new album. So she'll be in Floyd Collins at the Lincoln Center next year. So
wow.
And now I feel like this might be your most anticipated show.
I don't know if it is my most anticipated show. I would like there's actually a lot happening in New York this spring that I am excited about. Don't know if I'll be able to make it out there this spring. We'll see. But I would like to.
We'll see.
Maybe we will see.
Yeah.
We will see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A small tangent for not performance of the year, but for the shout out of the cast album. Yes.
I was looking to Warriors, and then after I was like, I want to like let's go, let's get back in. You know, it ebbs and flows how much theater music I'm listening to at times, and I feel like in recent years it's been less. But then like the past couple months, I was like, we're back up, we're in. We're back.
Well, Taylor Swift really like took over the scene because we went to the Eras Tour twice. So we had to be prepared always.
Yes, we were studying. We were studying our songs.
Yeah.
We had to attend Female Rage the musical, if you will.
Exactly. Okay.
We should post our Eras TikToks and just caption Female Rage the musical.
Oh my god! From
to the
Sweden.
Feed. From Sweden, just post to the feed.
Okay, they're still my draft, so I can do it. Okay. Performances of the year. I have like so many honorable mentions.
This is so hard. Everyone was so good this year. Okay, do an honorable mention, and then I will give a couple honorable mentions as well.
Okay, so a show that you just talked about, but I will give one of my honorable mentions to the entire cast of Stereophonic. I just feel like
acting.
Yeah, I actually can't single out a specific person because like everyone as a collective was so good.
What
amazing voices.
The guy with like the red hair, like the other technician. What was his name?
That guy actually the star of the whole show. What is his name?
What was the character's name? He killed me.
I feel like the whole time I was like, who are you? And why is your back obstructing me?
Okay, the actor is Andrew R. Butler, and the character is Charlie. Shout out. No, but everyone in that show is like really giving top tier performances, so I can't single out one. It's just the entire cast. I know. I'm looking through, this is one we've seen before, but like Betsy Wolfe singing That's the Way It Is every time.
Wow, I didn't even think about Anne Juliet, but like also shout out to Drew Gayling.
Shout out to Drew Gayling. A different
Also shout out to Ben Jackson Walker.
Ben Jackson Walker. I'll miss you in that show. How did Drew Gayling sing Everybody Loves a Wedding? He was like,
it was so good.
He was like, everybody loves a wedding, as opposed to
so different
like,
than Stark.
Everybody loves a wedding. It was very different.
Do we think Stark is gonna go back?
No.
His hair's long again. Gotta chop it.
Gotta chop. He'll just do it. Swept Away, Anne Juliet, Swept Away, Anne Juliet, which are very similar shows. No. Another honorable mention, you know, I don't even know I don't want to like step on any that you're going to speak about.
No, do it. It's fine.
I was going to say like Great Comet, have to shout out literally everyone, but like Kayla Gillis, Evan Bullying, love.
Both reprising.
So Exciting.
It's very fun. No, it's okay. I'm just gonna swap out someone here. Okay, another shout out. We talked about this show at the beginning. We haven't really talked about it that much since, but I am gonna shout out Ben Levi Ross because if you recall, I was obsessed with his performance.
I almost put him in, but I put someone else. I somebody else from that show. So,
but I was like beside myself with his performance.
Yeah. And gotta shout out his performance on Elizabeth the other night, which I did watch.
As soon as he walked on stage and opened his mouth to sing, I was like, who is this person and what have you done with Ben Levi Ross? Like, it was such a transformative performance from him. I was, like, obsessed.
Let's talk about a cast recording. The Connector.
Ben. Yeah.
He has a really great voice. He has such a great voice.
Yeah. Do I have another one? I do have another one. I don't think he's going to be on your list. Again, we will talk about this in a fully dedicated episode, but I'm going to give an honorable mention to Adam Lambert. I also could have put this as a surprise.
I was going to say him as an honorable mention as well. Adam Lambert was stunning. And Auli'i Cravalho, but I think specifically Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
He gave.
I could have put this as a surprise of the year. I had more faith in him than I think you did, but you were really pleasantly surprised by his performance. Yeah.
It was subtle. And it wasn't
stunning.
Sure.
It was a gorgeous performance.
It was beautiful, but I wasn't sure he was capable of moderation, if that makes sense. As someone who watched American Idol season 8 when he lost. I was a Chris Allen fan, I have to be honest, because again, I like a little moderation. I like a little subtlety. And I didn't feel like Adam was always bringing that, but he really brought that here. He was great.
Especially, like, towards the end of Cabaret. Like,
I don't care much.
Gorgeous.
I don't care much.
It was so good. Like, he is such good casting for this. Yeah. Okay. Your top 3. I feel like I might be making, like, changes as we're on the fly here.
Okay. I'm going to start with, also in Gatsby and American Myth. Let's talk about Soleil Pfeiffer as Myrtle in Gatsby and American Myth. What was the song? Oh my goodness, what was it called that she sang? That was just...
That was the one that was on TikTok for like a minute.
Was it like not One Heartbeat? Was that it? Deathless Song? I don't know anymore. New York Symphony? Valley of Ashes? I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
Wait, was it the one in the club, like under the stage? When the stage thing came... Oh, which one?
She kind of like maybe it was, but she kind of like comes to the front of center stage.
Was it early?
It was pretty early.
Yeah. Remember when the stage goes up to create the ceiling?
I do remember when it created the club.
I think it was that song when she's like hooking up with Tom for the first time.
Yeah, and then she kind of just kind of gets to come and belt out, and I really feel like
it's Valley of Ashes.
That makes sense that it's Valley of Ashes. That's really early though.
Or Shaking Off the Dust, maybe.
Shaking Off the Dust. I don't know. It's hard.
I don't know.
Cast album. We don't know anymore. It's hard.
We just know it wasn't the Golden Girl.
The Golden Girl. No, I really just felt she gave Myrtle so much depth. And a part of that is the book, and part of that is giving her some, like, time. But I really she was one of the standouts, especially of Act 1. You know, we got so much of Myrtle's backstory, and I think so much of it comes down to what she, you know, poured into that performance and into that role. She has one of the greatest voices ever. I don't even know.
You can catch her 8 times a week in Moulin Rouge.
There's a clip of her, I don't even know, her and John Cardozo are doing an interview. They're sitting on the floor and she starts singing.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? I can't remember what she's singing.
Is it Whitney Houston?
Yeah, it might be Whitney Houston. I Have Nothing. I think it's I Have Nothing. And I'm just like, girl, what is this voice?
Wasn't John Cardozo also like...
Yeah, he's on the floor. And he's like, I'm not going after this. He's like, I'm not singing after this. He says she sang for both of us. She just has one of the most stunning voices and also backs it up with acting, which not everyone does, as we've spoken about at length this year. But she backs up her amazing vocals with amazing acting, amazing physicality. She was just great in Gatsby, and what she brought to the character of Myrtle was fantastic. Loved her.
Yeah, I agree. Gatsby did not make my shortlist. I know.
Okay. Wow. What is your...
My number 3 is a show that we've talked about a few times now. Honestly, could have interchanged this at 2 and 1. Steve Ross.
Okay, this is my... This is gonna be my number one, but here we go. Steve Ross and La Cage aux Folles.
I know I have a
number one.
As you just said, like about singing and acting and whatever. Talk about an acted performance. Yes. I have never seen someone like leave everything on a stage the way that Steve Ross left everything on that stage. I would have been so sad to miss him, knowing what we know, seeing what we saw. We've seen him before in Stratford shows, but this is like one of those like match made in heaven roles. A stunning performance, and I like really believed in Zaza like the whole way through.
He felt like a real person on stage, like just like you were watching an actual person's life. When he sang "The Best of Times Is Now," sobbing, just it's like so that good. Whole moment, and kind of extending the branch to Anne's family and creating that with them too. There's a great I think we spoke about it when we did the episode, but there's like a great package I think on the CBC where he speaks about playing this character, as a gay man, not ever expecting to play something like this or have this role in him, and he's just gorgeous in this. I love him in this.
Oh my God, number one.
My number one. Okay, well, I'll do my number two.
All right.
Do you think you know?
I don't know.
I think it's pretty like.
Is it
Cole?
Me too. Cola Scola.
They did that.
They did that.
They did that. I just don't know. I know they're about to leave for a bit, and Betty Gilpin's about to step in. Yet I think what they're doing in this is so singular. I don't think anyone else can do it. I can't imagine anyone else doing it.
Also, this is a completely separate conversation that is obviously something that's like a heavier conversation, but like the fact that Cole had to choose a category for the Tony Awards this year is actually crazy. But now that they are in the Best Actor category, like, run away with it. Let's go.
Like, who else?
I mean, we do have like Denzel Washington coming in, but like...
Sorry to Denzel. But a podcast I listened to that they actually like love Cole, but Las Culturistas, one of the co-hosts, Matt, he always says, when I'm thinking about like who I want to win an Oscar, who I want to win an award, I think about, can anyone else do that, what they're doing? Like, and I just don't think anyone else can play Mary the way Cole Escola plays Mary. It's also because they wrote it. Like, they created this character. They did that. I don't know what else to say.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. The way that Cole throws themselves across the stage. Like, it's surprising that they didn't call out of more shows because of how physical this show is. There's like new cast members coming in like very soon though, not just for Mary, but like Conrad Ricamora is leaving.
And James Scully, who we didn't see, but
we didn't see James Scully, who is hot,
who is hot, is leaving.
But
Mary's husband and Mary's teacher.
As you said, like, I just like don't think anybody can do this better than what Cole is doing. Although, like, I know lots of people are excited for Betty to come in, but yeah, like, this is, as I just said about like Steve Ross, like, this is a singular performance. Like, there is nothing that will ever top this.
Not to like spoil Oh Mary, but when Mary does the cabaret performance at the end, and you're like, is this going on too long? Never. This could never go on too long. I could be here for another hour.
It's the physical comedy in the bar for me. I cannot get over.
Because all we could see is Mary, and it's just like silence, like just in the corner.
It is the box seat moment. Like, it is everything. The show from top to bottom. Like, Cole,
80 minutes
this
perfection.
Is yours. This is yours.
80 minutes of perfection. So good.
Literally
so
crazy.
So good. Yeah. Love them. Love that show.
Yeah. Okay, my number one is actually a split between three people all in this same show. If you flash back to our episode on this show, maybe 3 episodes ago, I think I said, mark my words, this person is winning the Tony Award.
Oh, wow.
So for that reason, I am picking Nicole Scherzinger, Tom Francis, and also Shayna McPherson for Sunset Boulevard. Tom's performance is nothing without Shayna's camera work, and Nicole's performance is nothing without Tom. So I really think that this is a package deal in my head because, well, actually everyone's performance is nothing without Shayna because she truly is the actual star of Sunset Boulevard. For sure. The biggest steady I've ever seen, like amazing on that gimbal.
In those streets. She's out in the streets getting this for us.
She is roughing it, yeah.
She's in the streets.
But I just think, like, if we're going to go through everything I saw this year, I don't think anyone was better than Nicole Scherzinger. Like, sorry.
No, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing.
But as we know, like, I am truly obsessed with Tom Francis, so, like,
He's also amazing in this show.
Yeah.
He's a star.
Again, we've said this so many times, like, book aside, like, actual content of Sunset Boulevard aside, the performances are what makes this for me. Like,
the commitment. They commit to this insane material.
The commitment is wild. The blood, the everything. I think you talked about this in our Sunset Boulevard episode of, like, you know, it takes a person to, like, really almost like hide their celebrity and not care when a camera is so close to your face. The lack of vanity
in her performance.
Yeah, like for someone that has been in Hollywood for like a decent amount of time, who is always like glammed up, to just like strip that all back and give this performance. It's so raw, it's so real. Like I know that Gypsy is happening. I know that people are obsessed with Audra as well, but like I just don't know. I
think so the reviews for Gypsy have been pretty great across the board. Maybe there's like one mixed, one negative, but the rest have been positive. I just think Audra's performance or interpretation of this role is a little more polarizing than 100%. Nicole's performance of this.
No, but I think we actually talked about this on the episode. Like, if I am actually campaigning here for one Tony Award, it is for Tom Francis. So, like, don't get me wrong.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I love him in this. I think he's excellent in this. In kind of a shocking way, he's excellent in this.
And I don't know if there's a way to honor, like, the camera work, but if any of them do win and make a speech, I hope they thank Shannon McPherson because, again, their performances are nothing.
Tom specifically, if he wins, I don't know, I haven't seen his Olivier speech, but he should thank her because his kind of like moment in the show, he has many moments, but his moment is in collaboration with her. I also like watching them walk outside in their little jackets. I think it's funny. Okay, this is a quick thing to do, and I don't even know if I'm really prepared for it in any way. We know that the Mirvish season is usually announced in February. Do you think we have any predictions for what's going to come on tour? There could be many other things, but what's
I was going to say, I need to see what's on tour right now.
I know. Like, do we think Shucked is going to come? Oh, I actually have a number one prediction that's coming for sure.
Well, Shucked is starring Danielle Wade right now, so, like, that would be great.
That would be fun. Here's my number one prediction. A Beautiful Noise.
It's Sweet Caroline.
Ba, ba, ba. You know what I feel like we haven't talked about enough this episode? Because I don't know if, like... Okay, here's an honorable mention of a performance. Veronique Clevo as Celine Dion in Titanic. You know, that was most anticipated for this year, and like lived up. I think it was fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. Like Funny Girls on tour.
Oh God! Wow, that also does have David Mirvish's name all over it. You know, we need to get to know Hannah, I think, because...
I was going to say, I think David is phasing out, so we need to know what Hannah's interested in. We need to
get to know what Hannah's taste is.
What's playing in the UK right now?
I know. Great question.
Are we going to get Starlight Express?
I hope. You know what I thought would have been a good play thing to do in Toronto, which I don't think is going to happen now, but I think like Operation Mincemeat could have had a really good like pre-Broadway transfer. I forgot that was going to Broadway.
Here. Damn, I forgot.
Yeah. I think that's also about cannibalism.
Is it? Okay. So I'm looking at Shay's season.
Yeah, me too.
The Wiz, which we thought, well, that was last year, but now I actually don't think The Wiz will come here.
No, I don't
Shucked is here. A Beautiful Noise is here. Oh, the Cher Show.
Yeah, I don't think Cher Show's coming at this point. It's too late. Ain't Too Proud has been here like 7 times. Two Pianos, Four Hands?
What about like Some Like It Hot?
Oh, that would be good, I think, for a Toronto tour at the Ed Mirvish.
What about a play?
Yeah, what plays are on
You know what?
right
We got all musicals this season, so let's actually not put that energy out there.
Blessed on that one. Okay, like kind of let's kind of wrap this up, I guess. Let's talk about our most anticipated for 2025.
Wait, we never talked about our favorite podcast moment of the year.
Oh, we didn't. Sorry, no. This
also ties into this though.
I know. This ending of this episode is a bit chaotic right now.
Yeah, sorry, but like, what else is new? If you've been here for almost 6 years, you know that it's always chaotic. Yeah. We started this last year as not most anticipated, our favorite podcast moment of the year. Mm-hmm. I mean, just to go through, as we said, this is our 150th episode, so there have been many podcast moments this year, but I think a cool one that we kind of both agree on is we covered the Lion King red carpet in Toronto, which was a new thing for us. Yes. We talked about that it would be super fun to do that for shows in the future. And then kind of a tie-in with that, Mirvish had an open house this year at the Princess of Wales Theatre, and we were on the media list. It was open to the public, but we were on the media list, so we kind of like got to go through the stage door and do kind of the behind-the-scenes tour a little bit differently. Yeah, both Lion King related, but both like really fun moments from this year.
Covering the Lion King red carpet was one of my favorite parts of the year. It was kind of adding a new element to what we do, and it was really exciting to kind of be in that like fast-paced environment and represent us and kind of be in the same place as other media outlets were on that red carpet. I had the best time covering it, and as I left I was like, what else can we cover? When's the next red carpet we're going to? So yeah, I don't know, I loved it. Can't wait.
We're gonna end this how we always end this, with our most anticipated / what we're most looking forward to next year. I have a few things on this list.
Me too.
Okay, name your first one.
Okay, the first one is one we've kind of been talking about all episode. The remount of Great Comet at the Royal Alex Theatre. So excited about that.
Okay, I think like most anticipated of the year is the like triple co-pro of A Strange Loop.
Yeah,
this is a show that you and I both love, but this is I think the first time that the musical stage company, Soul Pepper, and Crows are all working together on this show.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to interrupt. It's Crows Theatre, Soul Pepper, the musical stage, and TO Live.
Welcome back, TO Live.
I'm going to email TO Live, actually, because what's going on with Illinois? I need to know.
Yeah, this is, again, like, as I said, we both love this show. I think it'll be really exciting. I don't know what's year you said it on the podcast, but I believe you were like, I cannot wait to see A Strange Loop eventually at Crows. Unfortunately, it will not be at Crows, but Crows is putting it on.
Like, I kept being like, Obsidian Theater needs to be involved in this. Where are they?
But they're not. I know.
Where are they?
Strange.
Do they don't have money? Like, you know,
maybe they're just not doing as many productions as they. I mean, they weren't doing that many before, but maybe they're just not doing any productions. Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like this would be obviously such a great fit. But yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so excited for that. There's some people that are in the cast that like we are fans of. Marcus Nance in that cast.
I keep thinking, should we try to talk to David Andrew Reed? Like, that's maybe someone we could try to talk to.
Yeah, so that's like I think my like most anticipated of the year.
Okay, my next most anticipated of the year is Mirvish, at the end Mirvish, Life After. I don't remember the exact dates. I think
also April something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Here, I'm pulling it up. Life After, April 16th to May 4th. Britta Johnson. Composer.
Jake Epstein, Shalina Kennedy.
Yes. Julia Pulo.
Yeah, just lots of great people in this cast.
I mean, half of our previous guests are going to be on this in this cast.
This is also, I think this is also so exciting because we didn't see it when it was here however many years ago because we weren't really like paying attention to things back then. And then like we've kind of been following its life in the US a bit. So for it to actually come back home is like so exciting. And I absolutely cannot wait to see this.
Do we think this is pre-Broadway? Like Broadway bound?
I hope so.
Those are the whispers I've been seeing that this is the reason, like they've cast it in this way. It's in a big theater to kind of send it to New York next.
That would be thrilling.
I would love
Sammy Williams did it in Chicago. So they've also had like the Out of 10 experience already, which is really good.
Like Dan Shamroy has played the dad before. Paul Alexander Nolan has played the dad. Now Jake Epstein is going to play the dad.
Oh my God, get Jake back to Broadway. It's been a while.
I know. His last thing was beautiful, probably, when he went back the second time. Yeah. So yeah, that's my kind of next most anticipated. Tara, what about you?
I feel like, you said Comet, Life After. This is one that I have to put on the list. I don't know when we're going to see this, but like, I have to put it on the list because it took up so much of my personality in high school. Smash. Like,
Smash. Wow,
it has to be Smash.
It has to be Smash.
They just did a photo shoot I saw yesterday. The cast is like the same as that random workshop that everybody saw. I think it could be terrible, but I also don't care because like it's Smash. So like I just feel like I eventually need to see this.
I'm with you on Smash. I'm really curious to see what they do with this, but how bad could it be? It's got to be fun. It's got to be doing something. Okay, my next most anticipated at Canadian Stage, actually in February 15th to March 9th, Fat Ham, Pulitzer Prize winning, starring Peter Fernandez, who we tragically missed in One Man, Two Governors because we could not. I know. It's just hard to go to Niagara multiple times a year.
We're busy.
We're going to be proactive on our Shawfest seats this year.
Yeah.
Going to get there early this year. Yeah. And it's hard, when we go to Stratford, we try to do a 2-show day, just don't have to drive twice, but we couldn't quite, make a 2-show day with This Is My Fair Lady work, et cetera, et cetera. We missed it, so we will not miss this, Peter Fernandez. We will see you in Fat Ham. Here's another one. At the Grand in London. Waitress.
Oh, Waitress.
That
was the one. I was like, there's another one I'm thinking of, but I can't remember what company is putting it on, but, we have to see it because...
I know.
Robert Marcus.
Julia McClellan, Alicia Cruz... Lee Siegel.
Yes.
Who else?
There's so many.
I'm on the website. Where are you, cast list?
There was a minute that I thought that we missed it and I was upset, but we haven't missed it.
We missed the Into the Woods that I was talking about. Where it was seniors. But there is another Into the Woods at Kerner Hall, the 28th to the 30th of December. Tess Banger is Cinderella.
Wait. In 8 days from now?
Yes.
All right.
I would go. I think it's a concert. I think it's a concert reading.
That's okay. We love the music.
No, I know. I love the music of Into the Woods. Here's this cast. Tess Banger as Cinderella. Gabby Epstein as the baker's wife. Sarah Farb as the witch. Fiona Reed as Jack's mother.
Go.
Ben Page as Jack. No, I know. Yeah.
Also, Corner Hall's so beautiful. I loved being there. Yeah.
Okay. Robert Marcus, Cinderella's Prince the Wolf. I know. our favorite person ever.
Wait, so sorry, back to Waitress. It's March 25th to April 12th.
Yeah.
So soon.
We're going.
We got to get back to London.
I know.
The Grand is also doing Matilda, which is fun for the Grand.
Is it with kids? Is the kids show?
I hope so.
No, I think they collaborate with a children's theater program.
Why isn't Robert Marcus on the website for Waitress?
Is he not?
They have everybody here but Ogie.
Oh my God, no. Is he not in it anymore? You're breaking my heart, Robert.
It says Dawn, Joe, Earl, Ensemble, Dr. Palmeter, Jenna, Becky, Cal, Ensemble. Where is Ogie?
Oh, maybe he pulled out.
Okay, if he pulls out, then I actually don't think we're going to see Waitress. Sorry, we love everybody else in there. Steph needed to get over her hate of Ogie, and the only way to do that was to see Robert. But if he's not going to be in it, I'm so sorry to this cast of Waitress, but I don't think we're making a trip to London.
Well,
we will reevaluate. We'll reevaluate.
Should we email him? Are you not in Waitress anymore? Because
Well, when we see him at Corner Hall, we'll just ask him.
We'll ask him. And my final thing on the list, and Juliet's coming back. It's coming back to next December, I think. We're back.
We are actually currently in Toronto casting. So if you're listening and you're a performer, get out to an open call because they're looking for dancers, they're looking for singers, they're looking for everybody. I cannot wait to see this again in our city. I cannot wait to be the spokesperson for the show again, for the city. I can't wait to bring everybody. I can't wait for this to be our 2025 version of Six, you know? We will be promoting this show
once a month.
Front and center.
Once a month. I'll be there.
Once a month. I'm excited to do interviews with the cast because whoever's going to be in it, we have so much to say about this show. So yeah, I think it'll be a new life for us on Anne Juliet, because obviously we saw it again. We're not going to do another episode because we did an episode, but we will be happy to interview a cast member when the show is 100%. Back in the city. So yeah, I'm excited to do more interviews next year. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we're super interested in that's in Toronto. So it'll be fun to talk to some people about these shows. But yeah, that is our 2024 year in review. As we say all the time in these episodes, thank you so much to anybody that's listened to us for almost 6 years, or if you just started tuning in last week. We appreciate anybody that listens. I think I said this on our last episode, but so many people have been commenting on our YouTube page, so thank you for that as well. We love to hear everyone's thoughts on things that they agree with us, disagree with us. It's nice to have a conversation. I think we tried to be more active on social media this year, so that was fun too.
We tried. TikTok's about to get banned in the US, but
I know.
I'm there.
I know.
I'm on the TikTok.
Yes. Steph, you got to work on your year in review TikToks.
I do. I haven't started my year in review TikToks yet, but I will get going on those.
Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't just feel like a year in review. It also is a thank you for listening for the last 150 episodes if you've been listening that long. Also, when I think about that, I've edited 150 episodes.
That's crazy.
Damn.
I mean, speaking on that, I come here, I bring my amusing humor, I bring my personality, but Tara brings that plus all the editing, all the Photoshop work, all the time. Shout out to Shara, who you heard from earlier, who writes most of our captions. Anything that you're reading from us, Shara most likely wrote that. But yeah, the lifeblood of the podcast is Tara, who does the absolute most work in editing and kind of managing the technology side of the podcast. Aw, balloons for you. I
don't even know how that happened, but that was so fitting.
Balloons for you. And really just keeps us alive every day. And it's so fun I'm
gonna say it publicly on the episode, but next year we are not doing back-to-back December releases. So keep me honest past me, you know?
We always start the year out good. We're we're gonna pre-record, we're gonna be amazing, and then by the end of the year we're limping to the finish. And we'll be off in January, just taking a little month off, and we'll return in February with a whole another year of amazing theaters for us to see. I can't wait.
We'll be starting
year
with
7.
Our Way Too Early Tony nominations as usual, and then there will be a bunch of episodes on stuff that we saw in New York. The last I don't know,
kind of leading up to the Tonys usually.
Yeah, exactly. And then we didn't say, but also something that we're looking forward to is Wicked Part 2.
I mean,
we will be talking about that when we get there in basically a year from now. We also had 10,000 other things to say after we recorded that episode. So we will probably touch on Wicked again closer in February after the Golden Globes happen, when other award shows start to nominate. Or maybe when it wins Best Picture at the Oscars.
Imagine.
Maybe that's when we'll talk about it. But yeah, it's been a great year for theater. Again, I said this at the top of the episode, but I'll say it again. Thank you to everybody who has gifted us with tickets. We really do appreciate it. And it's great that we get to see the shows and talk about the shows, thanks to these theater companies.
And kind of share what we love about them in the hopes that other people will hear those things and want to see those shows as well.
Yeah. So with that, if you want to go back into the all of the episodes and go listen to all 171 hours of us talking over the last 150 episodes, you can do that by subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also watch us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment.
And you could follow us on Twitter/X and Instagram at Off2BOA Podcast with the number 2, or on TikTok at Off2Broadway. Give me a comment on TikTok. I'm trying, guys. I'm really trying to create something.
And we'll see you in February.
Bye.